Hello, this is Divine Sunshine, and this is the Playground Experience. I got my co-host here, April Williams, and we were trying to come up with what the title would be or what the subject is, and we was like, we can't come up with nothing. What is it? I mean, what is pressing on our minds? I've been watching a lot of the soul chats between Lee and Sherry and the men. That has really been pressing for me, and understanding that we're not as vast and different as we think we are, as far as the divine masculine and divine feminine energies in the male and the females, as far as what we share as our wants and our needs as well. This week, and I think what jumped off the page for me was about us really being raw, really being vulnerable, and really being honest with ourselves and having that conversation. It's like when things pop up, it triggers, really being like a person, they say like a candidate, but really looking at that and really doing a paper trail all the way back to see, hey, all the way back to see where is this feeling coming from. And instead of, let it bubble up, like Spirit says, but at the same time, also tracing that, almost like COVID, like they say, contact tracing, like where in my spirit or my soul have I came in contact with that to create that feeling or that trigger to come up and bubble up in me. And that has been really what has been coming up. When I feel something, I'm going back to, okay, where is this coming from? Where is this feeling of that's that you're experiencing right now at this moment? So like the other day, I think this morning really to me, and it was like, okay, what's going on with you really truly being able to feel happiness? Happiness, you feel it, but some kind of way you don't let yourself deep dive into it. What is going on with that? And so I stopped myself. I said, okay, what is it? And I traced it back to my parents, and how when a lot of times when I felt like it was safe to be happy, something would go on, an argument would happen between my mother and my father, which would stop me from really truly being safe and secure and feeling being happy. And so that came up this week, and I was like, "Oh, now I get it. I see why I can be happy for so long, but I can't really take it in. I can't receive it. I can't become one with it because I'm always waiting for, I guess, in some ways, somebody say the other shoe to drop, or this the happiness doesn't last too long, or is that so? That's just one example of how I'm making myself like stop. Where is that coming from? It's not, oh, I feel it. I'll send it to the light. I'll Reiki light it. I'll do whatever and then let it go. It's really getting to the point of me really saying, okay, stop. Where is this action? This is bubbling up. I've seen a submerged card, but where is it coming from? And I thought about it also in All Stars twins, what's his name, Kurt, and he's always saying it's not about childhood stuff, it's more so about what's resonating in your soul. And I agree to him to a certain point. My thing is if something that happened to me in my childhood is stopping me from me being okay with doing the soul work or being all right in my soul, I've got to go back there and trace the steps to go and repattern or relearn or rewire myself to be okay with in my soul about what it is as far as being happy. That is a thing to be. And as far as me being, which is again what you do in your spirit, which is to be. And so that's something that I've got to go trace. So that's why I say, well, me and him, we kind of agree, but I disagree. I agree to disagree on some of his points we are saying that. So I think this week we are doing a lot of going back and unearthing, especially these emotions as they're coming up. And we're really not just letting it just pass on by. I keep on saying, she keeps on passing me by. We ain't doing that. We really like say, stop. Okay, why is this coming up? Why is this trigger coming up? Why is this file coming up? And we really are taking time out to really look and see. So that's what's been coming up. Oh, also being very honest, and like you said about integrity, to of using that. I've also used it with the DM, telling them about my emotions and how I was feeling, pushing myself to get out of that shell and stop saying, you know what, he got to do or she got to do or whatever you say, whoever you're with, and saying again, no, what is it that you're not doing that you're reflecting back to them, that they're showing you this in this form and fashion that you don't like. But guess what? Again, where is I think a lot of times we think that and we try to address it, but a lot of times in the back of our mind we like, no, it's them. I know I'm straight. He the one crazy. I'm together. And so again, it's full stop, taking accountability, taking acceptance about what's in, and then really calling it for what it is. That's what the energies I've been dealing with here lately.
I would definitely agree with you um, about the sheer kind of nakedness and vulnerability and stepping forward with what your needs are and what your desires are and what actually keeps you attached to energetically that experience or that occurrence, right? Because like you were reflecting it upon our childhood and traumatic experiences, but it actually seems like it's blending across timelines and parallel lives and things that we're empathically experiencing as well. And so there's a real cleaning up of what is yours and what is mine and what is ours, right? Because there's a shared experience across the board. And it's not like you're being overly apologetic. It's like you're being overly observant so that not only it's like you're every narrator in the story. And so you can almost over analyze it, at least in my experience. I can overstand all of it. But how do I actually want to shift it into another vibration? Right? Because the whole stickiness of these intense emotions that are rising out of us, it's because we're seeking something. It's because we're seeking pleasure as opposed to just being in the pleasure of the moment. Because when we start to look back and really want to scrutinize it and make it make sense, it doesn't always make sense. Some shit is fucked up, like straight up. But that's okay. And what is it we're doing with it now? Like we're having the ancestors speak, especially when they're exhuming all of these indigenous children's bodies in Canada, right? And so we're starting to recognize that we're glorifying people who have really vilified children for no reason, vilified people for no reason, spread them apart when we really get to come together. So, in our own experience, we're seeing where we've been spread apart, but then we're having to stitch together through these types of conversations ourselves, stitch together the pieces that bring us into empowerment versus just feeling. I don't know. I'm seeing like you take a drop of paint and it drops and it hits and it spreads, right? It doesn't spread in a perfect circle. It spreads with all these little pieces shattered and charred and all these things. This is kind of what happens with our psyches once we get plopped into this body, especially if we've gone through layers of trauma and um, we're wanting to put our pieces back together so that we can feel part of that source, so we can feel part of that flow. But we don't always have those tools. But if we're open to saying that it's possible, suddenly the tool comes in. If you're open to saying, I actually hurt here, so I'm going to look at it, it actually starts to clear up. And yes, maybe you hurt again in that search of bringing that peace back, that power back to you, but you will find the way to bring it back to you. And that's what I feel like has been opening up because I'm energetically you can jump timelines, right? And you can jump within the same timeline. You're muted, by the way. So you can jump within other timelines. And so when you really want to start to pull them together, you create that vacuum of that bridge of just the emotions. And then ideas start to flood in, right? Because we are seeking to be in a constant state of arousal or pleasure or connection or flow. And we
Mm-hmm.
think that when we're disconnected from that, that we're no longer in flow. We're no longer good enough for that peace. And it's like, no, we're always good enough for that peace. You're bridging your reality. You're bridging your reality through that flow and then that uncomfortable and that unflow and then that uncomfortable. And then it becomes like, okay, your normal becomes more of what it is that you're allowing yourself to experience. But sometimes, and more often than not, if you're feeling friction or uncomfortable, it's because you think, or you think that you're disconnected from that energy that you want, but you're not. And so that can be hard to really embody, and when you're in pain or a loop of maybe someone abusing you or someone calling you names or something like that, it can be difficult holding the space when you've now trained yourself to call yourself names, right? You've
Mm-hmm.
trained yourself to do these things to fill in the space for this person who's supposed to be an advisor or caregiver or whatever. And so then as you're bridging into the, but I want to feel this peace, and then you have these moments of feeling peace, but and then you have them when then you don't have them, and you're like, I'm not good enough to have that level of peace. I just want that level of peace. And it's like, breathe, honey. Like, this part is falling off. You're no longer separate from it. You're starting to now bridge these two timelines, bridge this parallel dimensionality together. And but that's why you have to be slow. And but society and the technological construct that is attempting to make you think that it needs to be fast and it's got to go really quickly,
True.
uh, and it doesn't. It actually is both, right? Every step you're taking towards something, it's taking its step towards you. You're just shedding off the parts that don't want to be or aren't meant to be in that connection or in uh, that level of abundance and all that good stuff, like
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
like if you're
Go on.
oh, it's just about, like, if you want to really maintain wealth, right? Like, let's say you're trying to go for abundance or something like that. You're not going to take with you horrible spending habits because it's not sustainable. The earth is clicking. That's what's been happening a lot. The word sustainable. What's sustainable?
Okay.
Even our pain, even our levels of pain haven't been sustainable. Even our levels of self torture is not sustainable. So the stuff is clicking in for most people to get on track.
Okay.
So even this week, it was really easy for me to, easy is relative, right? But
Mhm.
it was easier for me to do the morning routine, to stay on track with what I am integrating as part of my divine assignment, right? And then also staying on track with being kind to myself and saying, "You've got this. You're doing a good job. You may want to be here and know you're right there, but you actually are leaving space to be forward, right? To move forward." And so things are opening up. Doors are opening. Things are moving, and I think everybody can step into that wavelength. And except for the people that we are watching for contrast, like if a person is kind of stuck in their suffering or their loop, you
Yeah.
get to see their loop, and then you start to question, where am I looping,
Right.
right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That's why I say that mirroring effect in others. That again, it's not anymore of, oh, that's them. It's something wrong with them. But then again, saying, okay, why are they in my orbit? Why are they? If I'm like a planet, and why are they? Okay, some kind of way. It's some kind of gravitational pull as to why you're here to be reflecting something to me that I need to work on. That's interesting. I said that on the job too. I was like, why am I getting all these people on the job here in leadership positions that when they communicate things, they're not communicating it right? I said, okay, so let me think in my head, is there something with me that I might be in the same thing vein, not communicating right to others? And so, and again, and then somebody else in their pain, what is it, excuse me, and talking to people, and I say family members again, and I'm listening to them. Okay, now what is it reflecting back to me that I need to work on, because it was interesting. I had a dream last night, and it was one of the dreams that had my dad and my mom there together, and I was at some kind of look like carnival or some kind of festival outside, and my dad told me, "You're not living. You're not being present. You're not be living at all." And I was like, "What?" And so then that I woke up from that dream, and that's what made me saying, "Okay," it started a domino effect to say, "Okay, now I got to start looking at the way in which." Happy. How am I being happy? I'm seeing Mary J. Blige. I just want to be happy, and how do I experience happy? How do I experience even love too as well? That has been coming up too again as far as my thing of me saying, and I was going to come on and say something for the collective, but then I was like, no, I'm going to work on that a little bit more. But I think a lot of us thinking that we're ready for this thing, and and sit down about love was okay.
I laughed. She said, "We think we're ready," and I was like, "What?"
Right. There you go. Right. And it's like we're honestly we're not ready. We're just really not. I had the conversation. I broke myself into two, and the other part was like, nah, you kind of not. You still got to work on that. It was like it's going back to what I was talking about today. If you can't get happy with yourself, why would you bring somebody else on board and you can't really feel happiness? You're gonna be looking at him to make you happy, and that ain't his role. He can't do that. So my thing is like sometimes that's the reason why your persons or things have not shown up if you have not worked on those key elements. And I said we keep on looking to others or looking outside of ourselves to not really deal with the stuff that's happening. And I think right now that's what's going on. I know I said I came on and talked about the sun and how the sun is helping us create this newness as well that's coming along. And I felt the other day I could just tell the sun it's a new energy. Like you say, I can feel the doors of opportunity um really truly opening now, that's allowing us. It's like really the sun is even coming on board, not even talking about the planets, but the sun is also sending downloads because I was having vertigo and all this stuff. So we really are getting super pushed to really step into our reality of being really truly divine. Now, what is it that we're going to be needed to anchor in the light or whatever like that? But at the same time, uh, the opportunities are there. Things are clicking. They keep on saying it's coming to us in a different way of how this opportunity is not the way of how we would think it is coming out very it's a different way. I'm seeing like a little seedling in some soil and it's coming up. It's like you didn't know what was going on underneath the surface, but it's coming up. So it's like it's growth. It's little growth, but maybe by spring or something we have big growth. I see our own other co-host here. Let me bring you in. That's what kind of lost my train of thought, but I'm here. Here we go. We're gonna bring them in. Yes. This beautiful
So,
being here.
am I? You guys are gonna have to help me censor because I'm running this off my phone. In communist China, when you become an enemy of the state, they slow down your internet on purpose. And
Oh,
apparently I'm an enemy of the state.
okay. No, we ain't gonna claim that. No, it's not.
We're searching for a happiness. Was that what you said? A penis? Happiness? So we're all about
Um,
that divine masculine. You're all right. You can be all right
yeah.
now. You can be all right.
Oh yeah. No, I'm
We
fine. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happiest when I'm an enemy of the state. You know. So,
look at you
but
just changing the world one click at a time.
and it though. but you guys are gonna have to tell me if I'm centered or not because I can't even see myself.
You
I have
look
to. I'm looking.
perfect.
Okay, I'm looking at the back of my phone. The browser's coming up very as slow as it knows how to come, but this is very. This is not accidental. I'm just saying.
Y'all gave him
But
dial up. That's not cool.
they gave me dial up. So,
Dial up like your old AOL. You remember you used to have AOL? It started and you see the little this triangle, and then you see the little person, said, "You are now on AOL." I remember that. I kept hearing that little dial-up stuff.
Yeah, but I think
Mm.
okay. It looks like it's ready to move. They don't like to be called out, so now it's going to act right.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
threatened it. I threatened it before. I told you if you don't start working, I'm going to wipe you and switch you to Linux. And they don't want that because then they can't monitor. I'm
Oh, on
halfway
Linux?
joking.
Really? On Linux?
Yeah, Linux is digital freedom,
Ooh, everybody
and
wants
I
digital
know how
freedom.
to convert devices to Linux. I've been doing it for a few years actually.
Oh,
So
okay.
y'all know me. Y'all know I pick up all the little skills I need.
I know that.
I love the balance. I love the balance. That's what I would like us all energetically to be comfortable with.
How to put this one
You
in?
need to
Switch,
turn
switch them,
something
switch them.
down. Just turn one down. Mute one. There you go. Perfect. Okay.
Well, you
Okay.
take that one.
Well, I'm actually gonna leave
Yeah,
one
Okay, which one you
because
gonna lose
I'm
it?
the phone one.
yeah the one where you don't see me. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
there it is. All right. So yeah, now the
it,
computer's that's right. They
it,
don't like those Linux
So
guys. I'm telling you what.
calling in the energetic freedom, calling in the space to have balance, right? It's not that we aren't independent. It's not that we aren't um like what is it? Our goal is, that sovereign, that autonomy, that empowered, but there's also
Mhm.
balance, right? And we're
Yeah.
always calling in that balance, whether we're calling in for the positive aspect or the triggering, what they've labeled as karmic aspect, right? Which it's really just the reflective period, right? So just calling in that balance and allowing space for it to be there,
Hmm.
as opposed to, because earlier we were talking about the energies of what was going on this week, and actually owning what it is that is our particular spirals or looping patternings that we can then shift out of to get into that space that we are actively cultivating to be in. And so when we were talking about the readiness for love, I'm sorry, I can't even say it without laughing.
mm-hmm. Not the Jack Lane.
We ain't ready. We ain't really ready, but being ready to be balanced, being ready to be like met where we are, and that's okay. Being okay with being okay.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So Sean, our special guest star host,
He,
co-host of the
he
evening.
told me don't call him no guest. He said he a co-host. He a regular.
Oh, co-host.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got
Our
something.
this is technically it is the playground, so anybody could come in.
Right, that's true. Right.
Tag, you're the co-host. And now you're the co-host.
Right.
I want a 1990s playground. I want those little whirly wheel things that they're not allowed to do anymore. That are dangerous. That's the type of
Yeah,
playground
they
I want.
stopped that. Sure did. Okay, that
There's
was.
one. There's one in Martinsville. There's one at a public park in Martinsville, and sometimes I go just to like fuck around and play on it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to say curse words on this. I don't know.
You can curse. You can curse.
Just don't show up nude. Well, oh, I forgot. Boom, boom, but that's already been done. But anyway, go.
You just have to be like not showing it on the camera.
Right.
I definitely got dressed. I got dressed during the tech delay, so I had you on that. I had you on that front. I was
So,
eating my ravioli Florentina. It was
all right
lovely.
now. So what are you feeling so far with the energies, with you personally, and what do you feel that's out there in the ethers, or either way you want to take it?
Yeah, so DNA 10 is here, right? So like 10D is grounding now. And that's my point of origin. So this plane is becoming home for me. So yeah, I think we're soul siblings, right? So we're all 10D, aren't we? The three of us? But yeah, Seraphim, yeah. I think we're all very closely related. in that way. But but they so it is this purging. So like basically there's going to be a microscopic form, or a, what do you do, a focused form, a temporally focused form of sort of everybody's signature issue, signature character flaw, shall we say.
Mhm.
And, it's going to that's going to assert itself in tandem with your signature heroic trait. So they're going to come in at the same time, at the exact same time, and it gives you a stark relief of who you truly are. And that's, we're all in that moment
Yeah, yeah.
right now. So
That kind
it's like,
of what I was talking about earlier. Yeah, that stuff is bubbling. It keeps on showing me that submerged card. That stuff is
yeah.
bubbling up to the surface, so we can really get down to the root of things. Hey, get really down to it. So I'm in agreement with you about that. That's
Mhm.
interesting. It's almost kind of linked to they were saying about, is that Chiron a little bit kind of energies where it is. It's
Mhm.
like I heard K Moon say it's like, what do you go to war for, that warrior, and how you go about doing that, and is that really needed the way you go to war for things, or should you kind of look at it from a different aspect about how you really go to war as a warrior for fighting for different things. So I think she had said that was kind of part of the Chiron aspect of
Mhm.
I don't know if that's still going on, but that's just the first thing that came to me. That just popped up in my head. It was like, yeah, it's like, what are you worrying for? Going to war as a warrior with your battle, your axe and stuff. And some things is like the way in which you're going about that patterning. You need to kind of look, where is it coming from? Do you get that raw from your mom? Do you get that raw from your dad? Or you could go pattern, or is it something in your past experiences brought that on, or the relationships that you had that made you kind of act in that sort of way? Or do you need to kind of like look at it and say, maybe I don't need to act that way no more, because that was that situation. Now I'm in the present moment, and I was, that was needed for then, but that may
Mhm.
not be needed for now. Some they say the word appropriate. So we need to see, is it inappropriate or is it appropriate for us to take that type of strategy
Mhm.
now into where we're going into next level, or our next level.
And I guess, is she frozen for everybody, or just me?
Who?
No, I'm just thinking. I'm listening
Uh,
and slightly
Bertina was
nodding.
frozen. Bertina
I
was
was
frozen
frozen.
for me. Yeah, for me you
Okay.
were. I don't
Oh,
know. I don't know about for everybody.
Okay.
she was okay. She was
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Um,
uh-huh. So that's
Yeah,
interesting.
or it could, for that is going to be true for a vibration, and she may have been tapping into a particular vibration, a bright vibration of incarnate divine humanity there. But there's going to be another vibration for which it's almost kind of the opposite. There's plenty of people who've been stagnant in their inaction, you know, and they don't have any fight in them at all. And so it's sort of like, I think basically we're meant to come to a stasis. So like if your usual pattern is hyper vigilance in that warrior way, like what you're describing, then you should calm down, like whatever. And then, but if you're
Well, I
someone
like it. You
who,
say you need to calm the F down.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But if you're someone who is complacent and stagnant, then that's the way in which you've been contributing to the problem. You know what I'm saying? So like, so you've got to counteract that if that's your vibration. So like I think she was tapping into a particular vibration there, but it's like a pick your adventure thing. Everyone's going to need a different thing at this moment. You know.
Yeah.
and there's
Uh-huh. Go.
I was just gonna say there's so many facets that are popping up for people, and there's so much reawakening, and because our fields are starting to overlap, it can feel like it's being done, but there's a way that you are supposed to do, or there's a way that you are going to do it that's going to
Yeah.
appeal to your sector, that's going to flow for you. So
Yes.
you can be working in the field with like-minded individuals, and there'll be plenty of different clientele, because it's all about they need the right frequency, especially if you're going like twin flame connectioning, right? Or just higher energy connectioning, right? Because we're all just leveling up together. The earth is shifting. She's needing her people.
Yep.
Now she's frozen.
Now, yeah, now April's frozen for me as
Now
well
April's
now.
frozen. She's frozen. Let it go. Let it go.
Can't hold back anymore.
Yeah. And so, and that's interesting you had said that because I had said that on my podcast that got released today. Because I was like, is my podcast supposed to have been released Tuesday? What the heck is been released on Friday? Anyway, great timing. I talked about the difference between it's a call now for pedestrian versus activists. And
Mhm.
I did that about 2 weeks ago. And I,
Right.
because I do a podcast beforehand. But that's interesting that you brought that up. And it seems like, again, there's a confirmation that you just gave there. Some of us just been pedestrians. Like we're waiting there, standing on the corner, waiting for the sign to say cross from spirit. And some
Yeah.
of us, we're looking for signs and sign, we have to declare within ourselves whatever we have been doing and working with as far as doing things has been very passive. That's what it was saying. And so, like
Right.
you said about that, we've got to kind of choose another way of how we are reacting or responding to things. And I think that's what
Yeah.
that call is. And that's why we're getting that soul push within us to trying to really say, let's go in here and let's and look at some of this stuff. Some of this stuff you've been a little too rah about, and some things you've
Mhm.
been like, okay, whatever you like, whatever you
Yes.
want to do. And it's like, okay, where's that coming from? That's also
Right.
what spirit wants to know. Where is it coming from? Because whatever it is, you didn't set within yourself as a patterning that okay, it's okay because this is the way my default setting, as they say, the
Mhm.
default setting for you. And we need to go back in there and change that and say it's no longer working, just like a computer. You have updates, and that's where the
Mhm.
downloads and all that other stuff is coming from. So I'm in total agreement with you that that has been coming up to say, okay, we've got to make a change.
Right. Yeah, and it can be. It's also it's like that the lesson side of it, but it's also about mixing and matching your toolbox. Because if you're someone who is used to throwing fire all the time, maybe spirit wants you to learn a little bit more about water. Maybe you're supposed to learn a little bit more about air. Like it's about part of collapsing dualities of all sorts is that it connects us more to each other the more we understand each other's modes of operation and ways of being. So it's kind of like we're not. There will be specializations, of course, because that's how we organize ourselves as humans. But even if you've had a specialization, I think spirit is challenging you to enhance your specialty by learning another way.
Okay,
I can't hear you. Hold on.
okay. I was about to say we didn't see that.
It's going down. I'm not sure why this stuff is going on, going on, going on, going on. Okay.
Yeah, like you go, it's going down. It went down for real. Man down. I mean, woman down, or machine down, or camera down.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Like my internet completely dropped.
Oh, did? Oh.
Now, ain't this some shit? Because we look at how far away we are, and we all three had that same issue in a cycle with the internet. Ain't that some stuff?
Some That's some bullshit is what it is. But anyway, thank you. Even though we're so mad and over you, 5G, you know why you built yourself to not fail? Yourself. You're going down. I feel like I watched some WWF thing earlier and it's like, oh, you don't understand the mayhem. It's about to come. And then it's like, oh, yeah, she said the warrior needs to calm the what down? All right, let me just kill it with some kindness and a couple
Mhm.
little heavy drops from the bass. We all know what we're talking about, right? Because we all about that bass. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I dropped some bass a couple days ago with my manual. Hey, yeah,
Oh, oh,
Yeah,
oh.
yeah. Completion.
that's it.
And that's another thing. Yeah, if you're working on projects, we're gonna now get opening and the green light for us to be able to start doing that.
Yeah,
It's been,
10
I
energy.
said
Yeah.
November. I said November a while ago.
Hmm.
But now we're at the end of October and we get November's upon us, what, on Monday. And
Right.
so we really will be able to sit down and get some of those projects. They want us to. It's a lot of a push of a community of us coming together,
Hmm.
really talking and getting together and healing within that together. That's and that for quite some time. That's why I've been pushed to get on the YouTube quite a bit for Divine Unisouls a little bit because it's like we need to be
Right.
talked to. So that's really
Hmm.
in the thing. I don't know, it's because things are hypening up what they say so called in December. Something with the event of like the lesser, not half, a tale of two cities. I don't know where that came from me. Where it's like the struggle is real.
Yeah.
About getting things. That's
Yes.
all scarcity. Those kind of times there. It was the what best of times. It was the worst of times.
That's
Uh,
it.
that's what they bring. They just brought. I said, Lord, I ain't read that book, and yeah, I didn't even understand it when I did read it. But anyway, that's the only line that I love, and I kept that there. But that's what we're going to be experiencing. Spiritually, it's going to be the best of times. Physically, it's gonna be the worst of times, the interesting times. We want to put it that way. I watch my verbiage. Uh,
Yeah, that's why
And
I started.
it's about the programming. It's about the programming is what I've understanding. So those of us who have worked in integrating this alternate, distinctive alternate timeline, like there's they're still pushing for the old agenda. Like it's just
Yes.
Waha, like say here, Waha is like the mouth, but it's like talk, right? So a
right.
lot
Yeah.
of this talk is coming through and being filtered and it's being scrutinized and it's being attacked in so many different facets and forms that it's fully
Mhm.
integrated already into its demise or degradation. And
Yes.
so as we step into our more harmonized 5D styling, right,
Yeah.
things are going to shift away. And so a lot of people are going to go into panic mode. What happens when you think part of you is going to die? You freak out, right? You try your best to, but that's part of the consciousness, that's part of the construct that has to slip away. But there's also the reality of the transitioning of souls, which means
Right.
we're going to have so much more push from the other side as well, is
Yes.
what I'm understanding at. Like, especially right now, we're all getting so many messages and everything is so open and so on that it's almost like you have to lie to yourself to deny what you're experiencing, like blatantly.
Hmm.
Or, you know, people are
Well, I want.
I,
What do you mean by that?
well, like I've had a few people that are like, I feel like my grandfather's soul is here. I feel like this type of
Hmm.
experience, like he's telling me to learn this lesson or to move forward in this area. Or I keep having these flashes of another experience, but it reminds me of this experience. And now I kind of know how to heal from this experience. And so this is coming from people who we don't have that spiritual a conversation from. You know what I mean? It's from
Hmm.
people who are coming from a denser consciousness.
Yeah.
I'm using,
Deeper in karma. Yeah. Hmm.
and
Yes.
so it's really it's open hearted for me, and then all the techniques that I've been working on for a while. You know how you're digging somewhere, and you're trying to get to like, you know, that oil or that diamonds or the whatever that richness is. You're tapping into it. Well, you've knocked and you've dug for so long. You're like, I forget. Am I even looking for richness? And then I've been able to tap into it faster and faster, so I can
Yes.
feel the deep retrograde unwinding. But I'm also hearing, thankfully, these really uncomfortable conversations happening outside of me, which means great. These conversations I've been having for years about this, we're now seeing it and we're now saying something about it, which means we're going to do something around it. We're not
Yes.
going to hide away from the child molester in the family. We're going to say something about it now. We're not going to hide away from the big bad organization that hurt all these people. We're not going to shy from that anymore because in the
Hmm.
future or in the now, that stops now, right? That stops now. These ancestors are being heard. This consciousness is coming to for us to save ourselves, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, and it would be big because again, hey. It would be that time because this is when it really the veil thins too because you got Halloween is always that time, and then you got November the 1st, which is the Day of the Dead, and it's always that time where it's always intensified because even the
Right.
of everybody bringing that in, different cultures, the Hispanic culture, you're sitting down with your loved ones that passed on. So anyway, between this time and this around this time, where it would be your ancestors will be starting to speak to you, just like I had the dream with my dad saying, "You're not living. You're just not. You got to be
Right.
present." So there are going to be coming in and stepping and giving you that guidance at this time. So it's not anybody that you say 3D consciousness or they're not really awoke or they're not part of woke nation. Yeah, they will be appearing to the people who are awakened and the not woke nation as well, because it's that time and period for them to be making their appearances anyway during this time. So it's not by coincidence that this is happening. It's really pretty much needed, especially when we're doing this pushing like this work that we're doing too as well, that we get that extra help from our not just our team but also our um, ancestors and those things. They helping to put their own little twist or their own 2 cents to what's going on as far as us here on this earth plane. So I'm in
Yes.
total agreement with you saying that if they say they're feeling that, I feel that too. Although I believe I'm a part of awake nation, a woke nation. So it's needed. It's needed. It's something again that they call it all players on the field, MVPs, people that's already been here to really truly help us to create that next push. Because again, like we said, it's going to be needed about what's this next level that's going to happen to us all together. I keep on hearing that high school musical. We're all in this together, whatever. So if we all in this together, we need everybody to kind of help us out about what this next phase we're about to actually experience as well.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I no, I'm with that, and I just think that it's important to stay centered in who you are at the core right now. It's important to be self-anchored and self-possessed, and can consider the ways in which I am not self-possessed. To offer a personal example, I'm going to be doing an intestinal parasite cleanse. And of course that's alchemical because ridding the parasites from the body can rid the parasites from the external experience, the light body, the lived experience. And but it's also physiological because I want more self sovereignty, more control over my dietary cravings, for example. And parasite biology manipulates that. you know. And even when it comes to the last time I appeared, I think on this show or something, April brought up semen retention and how that can help empower divine masculines. And parasite biology can make that more difficult. That sort of thing. So it's kind of like consider that as a theme. Where are the parasites in my life? Where are the dictators in my life? And if we alchemically address those things in our microcosm, then we can also alchemically address that in the macrocosm. And of course, I'm always the one who also wants the direct action. I think it's important to confront power, especially when they become the level of abusive that we see them becoming now. But at the same time, we don't need to. All tools are in the toolbox, and we need to be using all tools that are in the toolbox. So we can do this work alchemically, and then we can do the alchemy of activism as well. When it's time to stand up in the streets, be there. Be the light, be the anchor, be the eminence. That you're designed to bring to that moment.
Yeah, and spirit is bringing to me and saying, and when you're talking about those people that you're saying is authority that's doing something, say, don't forget to look at self too. It's so
Of
within,
course.
so with that, because it's somebody, I don't know who at time jumped into their body, but it's like, oh yeah, I know this person, this person, this person. And again, they keep on bringing to me, I'm a person of repetition. The fingers looking at you, three pointing back at you too as well. You pointing at other things. So make sure that you're looking at it and saying, okay, well, how am I being that as well? We talked about April. We said that before you got on, Sean, how that it's a balance too, as far as we got to look at ourselves. Well, so as our external world too as well, and seeing how that's playing a part for that. So I would say look two ways
Yes.
as well for that, because I can see people like, I'm looking on the outside, but right now spirit and source wants us to really say look inside and then look out, or look both ways. They say like crossing the street, look both ways before crossing the street. So while you try to cross over to the other side, make sure that you're looking both ways, looking at yourself and then looking outside of yourself to see where is it coming from too as well.
Yes. And my thought process of that as well is that there's no option to not look at the self now. Do you know what I mean? I think that
Yeah,
that literally. Hmm?
yeah. I said I
Like
like
there.
that. It's no option. No option. You got to start with you. It all
Yeah.
begins with you. You gotta look. And I think, like I said on I think we're getting that understanding that we don't do that anymore. More so the outside is more so internal. We really truly want to have this union with ourselves or this wholeness going on. It might be it's a few out there that still want to kind of do the blame game or other people. Or I can hear April saying they want to play that victim role. They want to stay in that continuous looping of I'm the victim. It's I would be greater if they didn't do XYZ. I would be this. And you have to, even when you from woke nation, you have to even correct yourself too as well, that you're not saying because my mother and father did this, that I in turn this is the way I am. It's okay, you could start there, that's your starting point, but then that's not your end point either. You got to
Right.
keep and a lot of us get stuck right there at that starting point and say, oh, this feel good, I like this, it's my comfort zone,
Mhm.
I do nothing. And so, but it's like, no, you got to push past that, especially if you want to have change, because again,
Mhm.
you're doing the same thing over again, it's not going to be any change that's going to happen. And I think some of us are getting in, and it might be a few of us that's not. I like to stay on the curve of optimism that we are understanding that there's no more of that that can be tolerated. I think Source is doing its best to show us that that can't be tolerated either as well.
So we're entering into multidimensional relationship. April, did you want to speak, or am I in your way? Um,
No, you're perfect.
okay.
She was talking to the baby. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, she looked like she was reaching to unmute. That's why I
Uh
asked.
uh uh uh.
Yeah.
uh.
So I think we're entering multidimensional relationship with people that we're not used to thinking of as multidimensional.
Okay.
Like those people that are I call it deeper in karma. April used the word denser, and I think both terms are accurate. And it's kind of like it's sort of like this dynamic of I've got to address your human, you know, from the standpoint of a human concept, right? But I've got to do so in harmony, knowing that you too have this multidimensional self that intends to step forward. And so how best to draw forth your multidimensional self through the human. And some of that, there's an aspect of that that is self-assertion, in grace and in unity consciousness. And there's also the matter of a little bit of yielding as well. So it's kind of like making space for people to create their next level,
Uh,
and and we have to make the choice to see everyone now, see the higher self behind the lower self for all individuals that are here presently, you know.
mm,
And by doing that and being in dialogue, so I might be having a conversation with the human physically, simultaneously having a conversation with the higher being energetically, and doing that in all directions. And by doing that, it's like this is how we bring enough critical mass of us to center to really coalesce and wash out the remaining toxicity in every sense of the word. And
Yeah.
what's that Bible verse? We battle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual principalities
Well,
and
this is right.
right. And that's what it is. It's like so we're used to thinking of the parasites as the humans who do the behaviors, right,
Right.
towards us. But and that's there's time and place for the validity of that, and you do need to say that assertion, like you do not cross past this line, and that is me being in my sovereignty. But what we need to shift the thinking of is the you there is not necessarily the human being. The you there is the inner toxicity, the inner parasite within that human being.
Mm,
The energy that we mean to cleanse out, you know, and
yeah.
us, and sometimes by
and we
confronting the human, we create that alchemy moment for them. Yes. Well, I'm sorry, April.
And I was going to add that that can also be created for us as well. That can also be
Absolutely.
seen within us through different aspects or periods and spaces where we are fully into that mode, right? Because,
Yes.
there's several different channels, several different sides to it. And once we finally let go that that could be us, like we actually, maybe we don't let go, we just embody, like that could be us.
Hmm.
Sometimes that is us, and
Right.
some like that's not us as well, right? Once
Hmm.
you really start doing it in real time, because there's this vibration in our water that makes us want to like defend or deflect or harden, right? But it's when you're like hardening that you're taking that blow even harder energetically, or you can allow it to flow. Like, okay, a child is crying,
Hmm.
they're conveying a message to you. Typically, you don't judge it immediately unless your patience is worn down at the end of your day or something like that, right? You don't take offense to it. They're not trying to harm you by crying. They're really just crying to notify you, right? So if you then assess from that, oh, they're crying to notify, what is their need that needs to be met, or what are they communicating to me? You have a softer approach of solution to help that child integrate what it is they need, right? Because they're just getting their needs met. You yourself have these moments where you might lash out at somebody, or I don't know, um, feel offended, like you're thinking someone's offending you, but really it was because you had wore something you didn't want to wear that day, and you were judging yourself the whole time, and you were critiquing yourself, so that when this person approached you with whatever they were saying, you you heard it in a way that took offense. And so then you start to notice that as these other people are taking offenses, you yourself can have that ability to be offended, so you have the ability to step away from who you are, because you could see where that person just needed to step away from themselves for a moment. So the reflection of that experience becomes richer and connecting, as well as helping you refine yourself to get into the energy to attract what you want, or the space you actually are meant to be holding here as a higher energetic being on earth, right? You have to shift out of the, oh, that part made me insecure or jealous, or
Hmm.
judgmental, or all of these things. I may have been taught this experience, I may have, but I get to choose now. Here are the tools I'm going to use. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to feel embodied. I'm going to look around and realize I'm safe. I'm not in fight or flight. I'm going to say that this person wants to work with me. And if they are, or let's say you're at work, this person, they want to work, we have a common objective. Now, are they in defensive mode in their objective, or are they in open mode in their objective? And how can we flow together to accomplish the ultimate goal that we're trying? So what's nice is, if you're watching this, you're most likely in the stage of being able to have greater discernment, but don't forget to remain humble in the sense that you yourself were human once. Right? You yourself were having a human experience. That's what they deem it as, a negative thing, but a human experience can also be a very pleasurable moment. The human
Hmm.
experience can also be, I'm realizing I'm divine, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
realizing I'm sacred in this moment, and so are you. So let's do this together, right? And I can feel that vibe integrating across the space, even though there's so much turmoil. So that's why I think I hear what you were saying earlier about there being a split, right? And some of us like riding the escalator, and some of us like taking the stairs. But the bottom's dropping out, it's like disappearing. So no matter what, you're going up.
Uh, I- you going up, baby?
That's
Sorry.
it. That's it.
We got a question here. I don't say where did she indigenous earthling wants to know how are we preparing, and I asked what is she saying for the shift that we are saying that's going to happen in December. So what is? So I'm gonna let Sean take it away and answer that. So how do we prepare for this shift, this major shift that's going to happen in December?
Well, I mean, yeah. So from the ground team, I guess let's say the ground team would have us. I would say store up about 3 months worth of foods. So like I would recommend pantry foods in case there's a electricity blackout. Um, I would say that I love pouch foods, like there's lots of like good Thai food and Indian food you can get in pouches, that kind of thing. I've stored up enough water as well. I've got 60 gallons. I did it at about like 5 gallons per week for 3 months, and that's really just preparing for myself. But I have a roommate who is deeper in karma, or denser, as April likes to say. And sometimes I like to say dense as well. But I like, if I need to give him some 5 gallons is enough to where if I need to share one with him per week I can, or whatever. So
Okay.
like he drinks less water than I do anyway. But it's sort of like it's like I'm in a neighborhood setting, so like I've had conversations with people about like like being prepared for whatever, because people who have made a choice to downgrade themselves, right? And I think everyone ought to know what I mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
Have the part of the downgrade will be something that looks like early onset dementia, and then by the winter it'll be transitioning into symptoms that look quite a lot like AIDS, full-blown AIDS. And so it'll be like you have to and different cases for different people, okay, but the dementia people will exhibit psychotic behavior, especially if they don't have enough of their light body integrated here to counteract the downgrade, or to neutralize the downgrade. Looking at the auras of people, you can see that certain people who have made that decision have been able to mitigate the damage because they have enough of their light body here. But for those who you should prepare for erratic behavior. Erratic behavior. You should prepare for what we're calling, we already have more traffic accidents in 2021 as a function of time progressed than any other year. Like that's statistically accurate already. And so that will continue as those who have downgraded continue to decline. And so okay, are you there? There she is. And
Yeah, it kicked me out for some weird reason. I don't know why. Okay, I was just commenting and it clicked me out on that. Good, keep on going. I'll say my comment. Go on.
So I mean, you have to have like a situational awareness, and divine feminines a lot of times sometimes aren't doing the same thing. I mean, masculines, men, like we naturally, like if I'm driving around, I'm like casing the perimeter at all times, just naturally. Like I've got an instinct for that, right? Whereas not all women have that. Like I took a female client to Chick-fil-A for her birthday earlier today, and she literally just didn't notice that the place was completely packed until we were already in line. She's like, "Why are we this far back?" I was like, "You didn't see all these people?" You know what I mean? It's kind of like, but not, but like sometimes people like to be in their head. Like
Yeah,
sometimes
I
people like
see.
to be in another zone. Sometimes you might be thinking about the next realm and not looking at this realm. And so like look at this realm. Situational awareness is necessary, and if that's not natural for you, then integrate your energetic masculine to assist with that. And so yeah, so prepare yourself for of course I sent you guys an email letting you know we already have had a little bit of a death wave here where I live. Um, and it seems to be continuing actually just in sort of like a pace. It's not as rapid as we might have expected, but it's definitely there. And so be psychologically, mentally, and emotionally prepared for that. You gotta have to buck up a little bit. We got to be tough. Like, this is wartime, and if you're not ready to see the war in front of your face, guess what, Buttercup? It's coming to your face. And so it's got to be, you got to buck up. You got to be prepared in that type of way. And it's advisable if to have some sort of protection weapon, like a weapon of defense, whether that's like a taser or a knife or a gun. If you get a gun, take a class. Do it the right way. Like, learn what you're doing. Like,
What is this? Oh, no. No, okay, go on.
what. But and a lot of people don't, but it is what it is. I mean, and you don't have to, you can also call upon your divine protection, but keep in mind, we all signed up for a different experience at this time. You know what I mean? So lean into your soul structure and look at your environment and ask yourself, do I need a little something else here in terms of protection?
I see what you're
And
saying.
and figure that out as a function of your situation. I've mentioned Marina Jacobi and the harmonic reactor, and she talks about make sure no matter how hard it gets out here or appears to be getting out here, that you have the capacity to step back as the observer and redefine the situation and reprint the situation. And you are able to push that energy outward and do that. We've all had those moments where we energetically shifted the situation. Some of us instinctively, and then over time we learn how we did it instinctively. But
Right.
that's how we do it. We detach and we go into the observer and we say, I'm a divine creature having this experience, and I can redefine what this is,
Yeah.
and be in
I
touch with that at all times.
Right. And I think that to me is the whole package deal of how you can prepare for what is coming from. It's
Yes.
also, physically, it's where spiritual, it's the balance again of the yin and the yang, whatever you're doing.
Hmm.
So again, preparing the water. I've heard all various things when I look on YouTube about what's going to happen. One of them, she's talking about it's going to look like the zombie apocalypse all over. I know, oh Jesus! And she said the same thing, just like what you were about having you some, maybe have you some type of arms because it's going to get kind of like serious, about that. And I like how you put the aspect about the spiritual too, about changing it because the ancestors are always showing me spiders, which is always a reminder to me to say, you know what, you design your own world because that's what spiders do. They design their own home, their own environment. And so as to always remember that we are in control, you can shift it through your intentionality, through the frequency that you are sending out there, because at all times you're sending it out and you just don't know it. But you can create change the narrative, as some people say, as
Hmm.
well, with your thought, because we are divine. So we really,
Hmm.
that's why they've been kind of prepping us by us, like we thinking things and how things manifest real quick. I think for divines, especially here now, lately, that's why you got to watch your thoughts. It's like, okay, we're training you, watch it. Okay, I want some water. Thank you. It's some things you just been saying here lately. No, Dad, I wish I had me some chocolate chip cookies. And somebody passes by and say, hey, you know what? I had some extra chocolate cookies. You want some? Oh man, this thing really working. So I can't. We've been training right here in this period of doing that. So now it's like again in with intentionality, watching what we're doing, and saying again, I've been seeing a lot of fours and sevens. Real key, fours and sevens again, being grounded. Seven, spiritual completion, understanding that that's very important for you to be spiritually completed, but also grounding in that, those two energies. So I'm
Hmm.
in total agreement with what Sean is saying there. I don't know if it's anything else. Is this again stock up on the food, the water, whatever that he was saying
Hmm.
about your lights too as well. I went and got from some kind of company that has solar light bulbs. So they's like, why everybody else don't have lights, you'll have lights. And so it you can put it in your into your socket, your electrical socket that you put your light bulbs in, and it will store up the energy in there. And so from whenever the lights is there's no power, you have it, and then it'll solarly. It looks like a regular light bulb, but it's got solar
Mhm.
panels on the side. And
Right.
so doing things of that nature, really getting ready for it. Hey, it
Mhm.
might not be, and I'll say it like the Mayan. We've been here before where they said, "Oh, the big event is coming," and did nothing happen that we could see, but it was
Right.
a great shift spiritually, because I'm seeing some people kind of turn out, oh, yeah, damn, like they talking all that hocus pocus stuff. Something is going to shift.
Oh yeah.
But you can see it now. You can say that these people ain't talking too crazy, because now you see on the news where they're saying the stores is not stocked as much.
Yep.
You can see some of these things. So some of this stuff they've been people, if you go on YouTube, been saying this months and years ahead. They're saying in December this was going to hit. So there is some, again, if you were a person of science, and there is some fact to that, because there's evidence out there that you can prove that backs up to what that person had stated a year ago. Something
Mhm.
is shifting. There is going to be some kind of scarcity. It might not be that big, of course. If we all get together like butterflies, we might could change the course of things, and it might not hit as much as possible.
Mhm.
However, Spirit is bringing
Yes.
with what's going on with the I'll say like Infinite Waters with the
Yeah.
jab bringing in a whole different frequency of this fear, which is making it kind of hard for that light to kind of pierce through to be able to change that frequency,
Yes.
as we would like it to. Yes, could we get together and we could change it? Yeah, we could. I've seen it happen. But
Yes.
we got other things that are going on that's doing like this. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, we're trying, we can raise the frequency. I feel like I'm tapping into him, and to get that good ass prana. But right now, someone's not being able to tap into that because of what's going on. So we got some things conflicted. So that's
Yes.
at this point, we need to kind of get to the point of, again, faith without works is dead. So we got to do the work, which is, again, doing the physical movement and changing things in the atmosphere, which is to
Mhm.
save and do whatever, because something is coming. What it is, you can prepare spiritually, or you can prepare. Hey, if it don't happen and you got like Sean 6 months worth of gallons of water in your place, hey, guess what? You ain't got to go shopping for that. Okay,
Right. Be over prepared. Be over prepared.
So I
okay.
myself
Be over prepared.
am working from both aspects, right?
Mhm.
I'm surrounded by ample amounts of water. It's a matter of filtration. So
Sure.
that's a good thing.
Mhm.
And if you're going freshwater, you need, part of being human is knowing how to live on Earth. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't know how to live on Earth. What is
Mhm.
the basic things you need to understand to live happily and wholeheartedly on Earth? Knowing how to grow food. If you don't know how to
Yes.
grow something, start growing now.
Yes.
Um, if you are in an apartment, you can still grow things. There are low life things you can grow. There are sprouts you can grow, but these are also not as fully. I mean, based on how we eat right now, culturally, we're
Mhm.
addicted to heavy carbohydrates and processed foods.
Mhm.
So integrating things that you can actually control,
Mhm.
because that would be ideal.
Yeah.
Learning about how water works and energy works, and spending time cultivating your spiritual connection
Yeah.
daily, strengthening that connection and trusting in yourself, not anyone else,
Mm-hmm.
you,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that
Yes.
you are capable. It really
Absolutely.
opens you to a new space.
Mhm.
They call it self-care or self-love, but understanding your worth, right, and allowing it to come to you, because
Yes.
it's not that scarcity is really a big thing. We need to understand that abundance is our birthright, and it's
Mhm.
everyone's birthright. And it's not a
Mhm.
haves and have not situation. It's, oh wow, like people have been I had this realization today, and it was kind of really disheartening, in the sense that maybe I had participated too in something like this, or felt part of this, because I grew up, and low income,
Yeah.
processing out of that system. the system itself is either set up to, you either can make it out of it or you stay in it forever. It's very interesting, the process, or you pass it down through generations, or you somehow can move out of it, but you have to be taught how to move out of it. Finances there are not taught about, but yet and still they make fun of and hurt and harm homeless people and people who have mental illnesses, and they do all of these crimes to people, and it's very interesting that we haven't actively stopped or changed how poverty works or how housing works. All of these things aren't actually sustainable.
Right.
And so when you start looking at what in your life isn't sustainable, I'm a big within, so without, because once you start changing and cultivating new forms of thought, you start making new actions, and your body starts to crave new experiences that are more in alignment with the vibration that
True.
we're going in, right?
True.
Yes. On all levels.
So I thought about it, and I began to understand like different levels of poverty, right? Because depending on the country you're in,
Yeah.
poverty can look like something completely different. And and what can I do at this time to help shift that focus and that consciousness? Simple things like buying local produce, growing as much as you can, um, having these conversations with your neighbors, actually knowing who your neighbors are,
Mm.
kind of a big deal. Because if we're all out here being human beings, we get to actually acknowledge each other for being so. Now, we're not necessarily saying take on anyone else's problems or take on any projects, but just becoming aware, like Sean was saying earlier, of your surroundings. Who is there? Who is in need of the types of consciousness or the vibration that you can actually like hold? And then what can you also learn from them? Because if they're willing to understand that, hey, I'm interested in growing food and something happens and they need to grow some food, you can easily shift it over so the dependency suddenly does become yours. Because most of us are empathic, most of us want to help everybody and do the whole thing, but we don't need to take on everything. We just need to take on ourselves and be willing to empower others to take their own selves on, trust themselves in the process.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Indigenous Earthlink had another. What was? Oh, was it Mimi? Hold on a second. Oh yeah. What is, and I've experienced that too. What's going on with us? Not wanting to eat. What is that about? Because I haven't either. This week I forgot to say that. This week I hadn't been wanting to eat too much. That's a sign of ascension too, probably.
It'll be different. It'll be different things for different people. For some people, protect. There's a whole lot of frequency poisoning going around. Okay, so
Oh.
you've got the towers and you've got the devices, right? So if you took advantage of this awesome free iPhone 5G offer thing, free is not free.
Yeah, that's true. Dad always said that.
Yeah, free is not free. So you need to protect yourself from frequency poisoning, right? And there are ways of doing that. Of course, a good place I would refer you to my own manual for some tips on that. And then if you go to extropicesoterica.com, GPMC in the top right corner, or you could just say extropicesoterica.com/GPMC. Scroll all the way to the bottom, and then you will get my manual, GPMC, and so Global Patriot Mission Coaching is what that stands for. And so so it is consider your dietary choices as well. Like is it that you need to sort of release something from within you? Maybe you are nano infected. And if you're nano infected, your body's best strategy to release that is like a water fast type scenario. So you might need to abstain from eating for your body to push that out of you, And so it'll be different things for different people. But yeah, you can chalk that up to ascension as well, because the more of that stuff that's not of your essence that you release from your body, the higher you can go. So
Right.
it's but you can call it either. You can look at it from either angle. You
I
know.
see what you're saying. Uh-huh. That's true. Was it something else? I thought somebody said something else that I was like, oh, I had to share.
Excuse me. There's like a feeling like a collective fasting and prayer mode. I feel like everyone's praying is really opening up, and everyone, because we're having the convergence of the all souls period,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Um, we're in full communion for our betterment, and we know
Right.
this. And so we're like, but what are the steps in needing to better, right? So it's like the collective fasting experience. It's like like we are shuffling and moving around. It looks like energetic meridians and rewiring within
Mm-hmm.
the crystalline structure of the individuals.
Mhm.
So I feel like we're getting more downloads, but we're taking them with better, with more stride. Like it's like, okay, yeah, I got it. Let's go. And like all the synchronicities, all the numbers, all the sacred geometry. It's just like, yeah, okay, okay. Before there was like a little bit of a fight with it, like, wow, I'm enamored, or oh, I'm tired of seeing this. What does it mean? You know. But now it's like, okay, we got this. We're going this. Oh, that's the flow. Okay, that's what we're saying right now. Let's do this. You
Mhm.
know. And our communication with the ethers has gone into like a, when you're breatharian, when you're running on that energy, you need less. So some of
Right.
I met this wonderful woman, completely a divine entity, and would barely eat like a mango a week. Like it was an incredible, but also we're anchoring in. So
Yeah.
because we're around people, we
Mhm.
we actually have to have some kind of barrier, and that's when we need certain foods or certain herbs and things like that.
Yeah.
It's an interesting process.
Yeah, and heavier foods and animal fats in particular are highly protective against this frequency poisoning apparatus. So there's if you can be a breatharian and generate enough of a field to neutralize the thousands of frequency weaponry assaults that we all receive into our being every day, then that's great. But if you're not at that level where you can project out that much of your light body constantly on a consistent basis, then it's actually a little bit better to be going a little heavier with the food right now, and it's animal fat in particular. You know, is because the myelin sheaths of the nerves. It like helps actually protect your nerves from those assaults. You know.
You say not to
Well,
eat
I would say
that half. Hold on.
now he's saying to eat them. He's saying to eat them.
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
say that for my composition,
Mhm.
not eating it has held the discipline for the mental and spiritual fortitude that's going
Mhm.
through this process. Because I'm usually, once I enter into the meat, I can feel the pain bodies, and that's too much for me energetically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everybody's got to trust their
Everybody
own
different.
experience, because they're mechanics. We all work a little bit differently.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, there's high vibe butter, and there's also your environment with the salt water, right? So like you're in an environment where the frequency poisoning is not going to be as successful anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so that's what I was saying, because I thought this week too as well, and I was kind of like, no, okay, you can't this that, but again, my body has said I want meat. If it said it, it's I mean,
Right.
because I've trained myself to get more in tune with my body and understanding that my body is not my enemy. When these things come up, my this hurt or this hurt is a signal to me that say, hey, it's something going on, and I'm trying to get your attention. No
Yeah.
more like what society said. It's working your
Right.
body against you. So I'm in
Yeah.
agreement. It has said that, and I was like, oh, I don't want some iron. So I've been listening. Like,
Right.
I want spinach. I
Um,
want iron. I want something with iron. Give it to me. Give it to me. So
right.
I've been trying to incorporate those things as well. And I was like, why do I want meat? I want meat stuff. So
Right.
it depends, on each
Feel
person.
into yourself. Mhm.
Yeah, yielding to
Yeah.
yourself. Let
Well,
it.
I have been being cued to cook in cast irons, because I used to cook
Mm.
everything. All my pottery used to be
Mhm.
cast iron. So there
Oh,
Yeah.
was like, maybe there's some stuff going on with the blood. especially when you're
Right.
looking at some of the studies and stuff coming out about what's going on with the blood. But I don't know if we should go into that or if we should stay YouTube available. Is that funny? Are we too late? We've already been hit up by every internet company trying to slow it down.
And on YouTube, and this one, and this one, this one. So what we're gonna do is just create our own channel. No, I'm sorry. Me
Hey,
to
I'm
Yep.
down. I'm
right.
open. There's some channels, there's some platforms that are opening up, and I think that's what people are understanding is the illusion of freedom.
Mhm.
And what can you be free in, and where can you start to reclaim your autonomy? And like
Yes.
that's it, is listening to the body, where you can start, oh yeah, I'm a body, I'm my own entity. Like, wait,
Yeah.
I don't just let anything happen. And then when you do feel that or wonder about it, you see someone who's living in that paradigm and you're like, oh dude, that's
Mhm.
unfortunate. But
Yeah.
also there's some weird gray areas. Like it's not black and white, it's not dual, it's like multifaceted. It's
Mm.
like you know how the colors are fading in and out as the tie-dye behind our dear masculine here. There's a lot of integration and overlap, but there's also some individual pieces. It's 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 bittersweet, it's beautiful, it's tart.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. It's a masterpiece, really, really and truly.
I'm glad I'm on this side of painting with you guys.
Mhm. Right. Exactly.
Yes. I was trying to see. I was looking
Yeah. Is
at.
there a question?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to look over on the side. I'd seen some good, nice dialogue between the indigenous Earthling and Mimi, and they were talking about that self defense. Yeah, I started to do that. My friend was talking about self defense class, and I was like, oh my god! But I'm
Yeah.
so to the spiritual and it, yeah. And I was like, okay, now that's like the ability to kill, and so now it's like, what is the balance between the two? And so it's like, okay, I have to kind of talk to myself about the. I know self defense, but I was thinking about the gun thing too, because that's a whole different story. Thing about that. So
Yeah. Pick your level, man. It might be a taser. For you, it might be a taser.
that is true.
Am I
That is
still there? Am I there?
yeah.
Can you hear me?
We can
You're
hear you but not see you.
visible right now. You're
Okay, I don't
actually
know why I went to look at the chat to see what was going on. I'm on my phone, right? So everything just went down. But yeah, my ex, they were talking about shooting in the chat. I was like, yeah, my ex taught me how to shoot. That was real funny. We always
I mean,
talked about having. Hmm.
I'm a country white boy, man. We're good with guns. We good with
I
it.
know.
Good
Yeah,
with it.
Tim was
We don't
shooting.
have many guns out here. They're not really that accessible, which I'm kind of
Yeah.
okay with this many people. But I understand.
Yeah. Well,
But
urban
machetes are
areas,
ample.
that's why different strokes for different folks. I understand why urban people want stricter gun policy. It makes sense to me. But out here in the country, it's like if something's going down at your house, your best option is to defend yourself.
Right.
Before the police can get way out to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like we don't have to all be living by the same template.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, that's something that kind of like really distinctly kind of think on. on
Yeah.
that. I was like, oh, that balance there. But like you said, a taser, I can see you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
doing
well, me personally, my roommate is not comfortable with the gun in the house, so I don't have one. But I've been doing personal training, putting on that dense mask. So
okay.
that's
A
what I've been
metal
doing.
bat. I get a bat.
Yeah, get a bat. Why not?
Right, that is true. Got to do something like that. Yeah, but then she cracked me up when she started like, nah, I'm telling you, it's gonna be the apocalypse. It's gonna be the daggone zombie. They're gonna be people out here wanting stuff and they ain't got nothing, and you got to make sure you can't let nobody know what you got and all that. I was like,
Well,
girl,
we could also have a
A little
renaissance,
bit
right?
fear about it.
So if
right,
we plant the seeds of renaissance. So like there's a lot of empty
Yes.
lots. Everybody stock up on seeds. You know what I mean? I'm serious about
Yeah.
plant cultivation. It's relatively simple. We
Yeah.
can teach each other how to do it, and we can
Yeah.
also
I already
generate our
got
own
my
electricity.
license.
But people aren't really like thinking about that. They're just thinking about what
Okay.
they're not going to have. But it's like what you are going to have is community. What you are going
right.
to have is people pulling together resources.
Indigenous Earthlings said they say things happen spirit realm before physical. That's what happened in 2012. The official shift started, and it's been manifesting in the world.
That's exactly right. Indigenous Earthling, thanks for that commentary. I was going to say that. I mean, we did have the real shift in 2012. It's just been unfolding.
You're right.
So
Well,
I'm doing
and
micro
also depending on which calendar.
for growing in the home, you know.
Oh, what was that?
I actually have a whole idea that I need support. I wonder if I
Microgreens.
mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're vitamin rich and they're efficient to grow and they're easy to grow inside. And because you can grow it inside, you have less chance of your produce getting nano infection, you know, because most of the nano infection actually comes from the chemtrails. You know?
Oh, interesting.
Well, now most
That
of the
sounds.
nano infection comes from the downgraded. You know what I'm saying? The downgraded people are the biggest carriers of the nano infection now. But before that, it was the chemtrails. So.
You know what felt really nice? I boiled some anise.
Yeah, I had that. Yeah, you told me to get some of that. I got some. I got some.
Yeah.
I boiled some all and like in the like let it mist in the air and everything. It was really nice. It felt like a nice little clearing. And then I was actually able to talk to my spirit guides and everything a lot better. Ancestors, God, you know, it's really nice. So
I'll do that.
You know, having these little tools, it's nice, and the whole house smells wonderful. And
Christmas.
Good.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I'm gonna do that too. They make anise essential oil, right? Like you can
I
get
believe so. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go get some essential oil. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do exactly what you
diffuser.
said. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's great. I mean, these are very simple remedies. Keeping things alive around you, having more life around you is the actual really nice way to keep you in the present moment too. Especially if you've got like little pets and stuff, they're going to keep you in the present moment. They're not actively, you know, people are so in fight or flight that they're creating more fight or flight by being in that mode, right? So if you can let yourself, they call it orienting or being in body and realizing that you are safe, you are just preparing for sharing with your neighbors and growing in a different way. Because once you shift your energy around it, it doesn't cause as much friction or as much turmoil. It actually allows for more flow and sovereignty and independence, freedom, and that's what everybody's craving. So we're thinking all of that, our resources are going to be pulled away, but the resource is really you. The resource is really your time, your focus, your energy, and where you're putting it. And that means that ends up what you're developing. And sometimes we get stuff thrown in sideways just to test our resolve or our commitment to our healing.
True.
Well, we have to be trained back up to be in our sovereignty and our independence. You know, like the educational system deliberately took basic skills that we need out of our purview. You know, such as growing food, etc. So this whole moment, you know, the benevolent beings that are guiding us through this process want us to do this prep moment. Maybe we'll use it, maybe we won't. And the truth is, some of us will and some of us won't. That's what it really is. You know, it's going to be different things in different regions. And so it'll be, we don't know who's going to get it worse, you know, so prepare as though for all possibilities. But we're being trained back up for sovereignty because these the global parasites are being taken down rapidly now. And so we've got to get back used to relying upon ourselves. So it's really about shifting the mindset into your sovereignty. And so don't do, like April said, don't do it out of fear. It's not about the fear. It's not about whatever. It's about, we have to recognize where we are and say, as a measure against where we want to be. And where we are versus where we want to be is, you know, this slave system is coming down. This control system is coming down. We do not want to be controlled. No. What is the price tag to not be controlled? The price tag to not be controlled is to be able to meet all of your own needs. You know.
Right. You can say when, you can say how, you can say what, because you control everything. Okay. That's when you're snatching it back. All right.
And that's the energetic thing we've been talking about. I know you're ready to pet, but pulling back our power, pulling back our, they say cut cords, right? The thing
Yes.
is, when you cut a cord, there's something that wants to fit in to that space, right? So if you remove that cord and then fill it with what needs to be there, it's better than just cutting it and saying, I need, right? Because we're not
Yes.
just cutting off from source. We're cutting into our humanness, into our humanity, into our connection with Earth and the reawakening and reconnection with Gaia.
Yes. The land, yeah. And Cheryl and I are doing a particular type of alchemy there. April has met Cheryl, but I don't think Bettina has yet. Well, we're actually emancipating ourselves from U.S. corporation and returning to the law of the land. Because U.S. corporation uses a fiction of maritime law whereby we're all considered castaways lost at sea. And that's why they treat us now as guinea pigs and do what they feel like they're entitled to do to us, because they've got documents that say that they own us. So we're actually going through the process of emancipating ourselves and reassembling with a common law structure where we are living humans governed by the law of the soil and the land. And it is we all know that contracts go into the Akashic record, right? Your birth certificate is a contract in the Akashic record, defining you as property, defining you as a slave. All of us are under this in America and many under most countries, and so this alchemy of reneging that contract to say I did not consent to this, I am sovereign, right? It's more than just not having to pay taxes to a government that insists upon funding war and crimes against humanity. It's also in the Akash. In the Akash, you become more sovereign. And because you become more sovereign in the Akash, that's another form of alchemy. It's going to come straight back down into your life body, into your being. And as soon as this process is complete, I will be freer on all levels, multidimensionally. And then I'll teach you to do it, and I'll teach you to do it, and then you'll be free too. And it's like we will be even more self-sovereign. Like there's so many different ways to do it, and then do the thing that's in front of you that the universe is drawing towards you. Like you don't have to. You can feel into your guidance as to what's for you and what is not. But do it. When it comes to you, do it. Like it's action and it's both at the same time. It's receptivity, it's yielding, and it's also action, and it's listening at all times to when to do what.
True. To that own self be true.
Yes.
That is so true. All right, then. All right. I guess now can I close up? Oh, 32:23. Yes, the spirits has spoken. I say 32:23 on the time. So that's reflection, and that's a balance, and that's even. That's a nice place to wrap it up. So here we have our community time here. So we're gonna start with Sean here, our co-host. Here, and tell us, what are you doing? Because I say it is personal. That's why I say, April, get him on here. Especially he's doing this special thing coming up this Monday, right?
Yeah.
And especially being free is for me in so many ways. Like you say, free through my Cash's records, but free also in getting things. So tell us what is going on, Sean.
Yeah. And speaking of free, just because we friends and co-hosts doesn't mean that you two can't redeem your free session that you have earned by completing my survey the last time I appeared on this channel. Okay, just as a reminder, you two can cash in your free sessions. But yeah, so I am doing a twin flame group therapy, and I'm very excited about it, and I'm excited about this. Oh, thanks, Virginia. And yeah, and we're gonna do this demo session that we'll talk about different ways to go about it, because I've got a few different ideas about directions that we can take it. To get there, all you have to do is complete the survey. So the survey is at extropicesoterica.com/Twin Flame Group Therapy. So it's TFGTIS. So Twin Flame Group Therapy Interest Survey. Okay, but you just do the first letter. So extropicesoterica.com/TFGTIS. And then you fill out the survey. I get your email address through that, and then once I have that, I think by Sunday I'm going to send. I've given people until Sunday's the deadline to do it. So by Sunday, let's say 5 o'clock. If there's some stragglers Monday morning, okay, I'll cut you into whatever. But like Sunday is when I'm going to really sit down and like set down. And you will have to download the Blue Jeans app for the demo, and the group will probably be done on Blue Jeans until I pick another app, because next year I'll pick another app. I think that I really want to get out of corporate big tech as much as possible, and that they tricked me. They turned out to be corporate big tech, and I didn't know it. But they hit it on the back end, not on the front end. So, but I also didn't do my due diligence, so it was my fault, really. But yeah, so it'll be Monday, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and all you have to do to be able to go. And I posted it on my Instagram as well, Extropic Esoterica. So if you have difficulty remembering the URL, just go there, and then you can fill out. It's a quick little survey, and then you will qualify for the free demo session. So.
Yeah, because I already said that it's much needed. They keep on saying it's going to be really, like they say, with 2 or 3 guys together, and there I am in the midst. Source is saying it's going to really be showing up into these groups when you get us gathering together to really help intensify, edify, magnify the energy for this healing that's going on within us, that choose to come together like events like this. That's why I say it's very important. It's by choice, again, many are called, but few are chosen. So those of you all that call you, and few of you all are answering the call, that's on you, that you're not taking advantage of this stuff, because they saying this is needed. And when you do come, it's going to magnify some things that you have been, I'm channeling now, some things that you have been working on by yourself. They're saying that if you come to these different kind of events like this, it's going to help to do it, concentrate like tenfold. Like,
yeah.
You might have did it one time by yourself, saying, I ain't got no headway, ain't no breakthroughs that came through. It's the same thing. I keep on hitting this wall. You come to events like this, rather Sean's or anybody that's throwing that, they're going to show up and help to, they're showing me like a time warp. It's going to make it go faster.
Yes.
For it to happen.
Yeah, and that's the direction I'm thinking. I know how to make stuff faster, so I'm looking at those sorts of things to where we can collectively, energetically shift it very rapidly. Yeah.
Say quantum leaps. They just told me.
Yes.
Leaps. Yeah. Make quantum leaps.
Yep, I'm seeing it.
Yes. All right there. Your turn. Your turn.
Well, Indigenous, I know who you are. Hit me up after this. We need to meet up, because I definitely could use some support to follow through with what she's saying to actually make some headway. So
yes.
There's a great potentiality of having something huge by next week. So we'll see. Same bad time, same bad channel. Owl, bat, whatever you got going on. Yeah, I'm almost done with my other book too. I'm doing really great. It's almost done. Let me just finish it before I sit here and talk about it too much. But I'm really feeling the abundance. I'm feeling the support. I'm seeing it. I'm knowing. I'm integrating with my body. I'm trusting myself. I'm taking my time, and I'm moving through the water. Because with this whole Mar-time construct, we're looking at emotional body, right? We're looking at these huge, deep-seated or deep rooted ways of integrating and hijacking at the same time, right?
Yes.
And so as we understand how we've been disconnected from the self, we actually learn how to connect beyond and past and through and around. And it's really cool to see how we're adapting, because that's all we're meant to do, is adapt and keep growing and keep rising and keep flowing. And so anything that attempts to thwart it, it's laughable, but it's also emotional, right? It also moves you. And I don't know, I'm feeling the breakthroughs, I'm feeling the other side. and
Mhm.
I'm bridging the gap with my body.
Yes.
And time is not linear. It
Mhm.
is what we experience.
Mhm.
Every moment of now is a moment of forever. And so
Yeah.
when you're allowed and you give yourself permission to stay in the present and feel connected and conscious within you, oh, it's on. We won already. I'm pretty stoked. I'm stoked. I don't even remember what I usually say as my outro. Wait, okay. Stay blessed. Stay blessed. Stay golden. And remember, you were made for this golden life.
All right then, Sean. What's your outro?
I'm done.
All right then. And she just gave my answer because Spirit's like, you ain't got nothing for the community. I just want you to be right now. So she already cut me off before I can even say about what I'm doing. So that's fine. I'm gonna be obedient. We're gonna let it go. If you need me, hey, I'm here. Whatever, hit me up on divineunisource11.co and I'll help you
There
with
you go.
your needs. All right then, moving on. As always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste and namago. Mwah. Love you all. All right, then. Next time, me and Indigenous Earthling, y'all need to exchange y'all emails. You all are just going to town at it, but thank you for the dialogue and your great energy because it was felt and it helped our conversations to keep flowing even here on the playground. So thank you so very much. And do reach out to April too as well. Y'all can connect. All right, then. Until next time, we'll be talking to you on the playground. See ya.